Just setting up the live stream. Please bear with me. Okay, fingers crossed, we're good to go. So we are at Aix Les Bains on the edge of the Alps. So if we go and have a look on the on LittleNavMap, we will be departing Aix Les Bains and flying around the corner in the valley and going over to Albertville and then just picking our way around. We may change our mind about the route to go along the way. We may go and explore Megève as well, because it's a featured airport. It has some custom scenery, but it's behind a ridge, so it's going to be quite difficult to get in there. We may have to go from Albertville all the way up there to go look at it, but we'll figure that out on the way. Okay, so we are in... Actually, before we get started, Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas and almost Happy New Year. A couple more days to go. I've been away for a few days, obviously, just having a rest really, knocking around the house, and I've actually been working as well, so I only actually had Christmas and Boxing Day off. Otherwise I've been working, which is why I haven't been here. So let's go and remove the covers from the aeroplane. Go and remove the pitot covers and the stops, or the chocks I should say. Should go and check the engine while we're here. Well, before we get any further, let's go and check the volume levels. So you can hear me okay, that's good, and you can hear the simulator as well, which is good. Not always the case. I'm going to get rid of the planner. I used it just to sketch in the route. So Martin Carlson is saying, hey, I got my Pilatus today, finally, 4.7 million, took some grinding. Yeah, it's the career mode in the simulator is something else, isn't it? So this is just a fun flight today. This is a free flight. And we're just going to go for a fly around. I've noticed if you walk away, oh, it's actually doing it now. Nope, as you walk away, the engine closes itself, which is quite interesting. So let's go and get in the cabin and see if we can remember how to start the aircraft up. So we've got the fuel tanks are on. I need to make sure my controls are configured appropriately, so that should be on idle, and yet we've got propeller control on the blue stick, and obviously we've got fuel control is going to be manually operated by the mouse. Okay, so we'll pop the yoke. I assume we don't need to pop the yoke off on this one, do we? Because all the switches are over here. So, battery on. Fuel boost can stay on norm. We'll turn avionics 1 on, so we get to see the engine gauges. So we'll see them over here, and everything's booting up. I'm not sure if this... yeah, it does do a TORS test, so it might shout at us in a moment. We can go and hit the starter. So ignition can stay on norm, so if we go starter, then we'll go and watch the gauge over here. I think it's about 13% or so. You can... so 10%, 11, 12... no, it's going to stop at 11. Oh no, it is getting there. Maybe it's 11. I can never remember the numbers. So then we can bring the fuel in. And when RPM gets past 50%, we'll be able to stop the starter. So Stephen Kelly is saying, what airport and server? I'm at Aix Les Bains, so that's Lima Foxtrot, Lima Bravo. I'm not sure if I've got all players on. think I have. Okay, so the starter can come off and we can reset the generator. And we can turn the second avionics on. We should have had the beacon light on, by the way. So beacon light's on, nav light's on. Taxi light can come on, we're about to taxi. Smoking and seatbelt signs on. What's the outside air temperature? It tells you on here, doesn't it? Somewhere. 2 degrees, so maybe we do need to go and do some anti-ice. So stall the heat and pitot heat on. I'm just looking around. So cabin heat is down here, but I don't think this version of it is particularly accurate in... Does it have the internal heat anywhere? I don't think it does. Unless it's down here hiding. I know the black square version in 2020 had internal heat and had a warning when it went below 10. But I don't think we're going to have to worry too much. But we can turn the bleed air on and we can turn the temperature up to say 50%. So we'll pretend we're going to keep the cabin warm. So if I look around, if I press Control Alt N, I think that will turn labels on, or it should. If there was anybody nearby, maybe I haven't got live on. If I go and look at the conditions, I've got live weather, and I've got custom up here for the time, because I've wound the time back, because it's the middle of the night in the Alps at the moment. I can't remember where you see if you have live conditions. Is it in? It's not in the chat window, is it? No. Do I have to go into online mode to see? It's air traffic type is real-time online. That's just the AI traffic. Live weather, multiplayer is on. Southeast Asia is on. Show multiplayer in. That's whether they overlap with you or not. I can't remember. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Let's go and jump back inside. So, engine is up and running. Let's go and advance the propeller to maximum. And we'll leave it for the moment like that and exercise the flaps, make sure they're working. Yeah, they appear to be working. Can we turn before we hit the building is the question. Or we're going to have to do the trick where we reverse. I think we'll be okay. Okay, let's go and put the head tracking on and center it up. That's better. So, which way is the wind? We've got a crosswind, so it really doesn't matter. So we'll just taxi down to this end. We're doing intersection takeoff. We don't need the whole runway for this aeroplane. And we'll orbit the airfield while we're deciding what to do next. Yeah, I have a suspicion. Let's sort this out before we go any further. I have a suspicion that I'm not in live mode because I can't see any traffic. Control Alt N, which I've mapped. I've toggle nameplates, and I'm not seeing anybody. So before we go too much further, then let's go back out to the main menu. And go to free flight again. Go to flight conditions. I've got multiplayer has gone to live all on its own. It does that. So I'm going to go to preset weather. Okay, we're going to do away with the weather that this is the problem. If I go for live weather, I think it will reset multiplayer. Because watch, if I do this, I'm pretty sure all players will not be held onto. It's a real pain. So I want to go to Aix Les Bains, Chambray. So if I set that as departure, so I'm on the ground, I'm doing this all over again just to make sure. So let's go and look in flight conditions again. Remember, I set all players. Live. Save them back. Start flight. And let's see what happens. I bet it forgets it. Ready to fly. So if I search, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'm going to have to run through this again, aren't I? Everything's a learning day with this simulator. Okay, so it's interesting that we now have traffic nearby that we didn't have there before. And we've got Senator Kelly is over there. So, very good. It's working. So we also have head tracking working, and we're going to disable that for the moment. Let's go fire the airplane up again. Now let's do it properly this time. Hey, battery on, beacon light on, and then let's double check things. So levers are in the correct positions. Yeah, that should have been max RPM earlier. Throttle is good. Fuel condition is on cutoff at the moment, so we go avionics on to get the screens up, which will show us the engine gauges. And while that's booting up, we can then go and start the engine. So we're watching RPM, and when it goes to about 11%, wasn't it? See, this is, oh no, yes, percent RPM, not prop RPM. That's a different thing. So there we go, and we can bring it up, and we'll go through about 50% RPM very quickly. We have to clear the warning. Happens every time. I think the warning will go out on its own eventually. So 50% we've gone through, so the starter can come off, the engine's now running on its own, and we can reset the generator. Put nav light on, seat belt and the smoking sign on, go and get the stall heat and the pitot heat on. And I'll hopefully turn left. And not smash into anything. Apart from the poor guy that's going to get his head clonked with the wing again. And the tail. I wish they were animated. Just as he was getting up then, we would have hit him again, wouldn't we? So if anybody does want to come fly along, as I said, we are on the Southeast Asia server. We're on all players on multiplayer. So if you've got 2024, you should be able to join in. If you're on 2020, the multiplayer is not cross-compatible. I can hear an engine behind me. Somebody else is turning around. So I'm going down to runway 18. And we'll see how we go. Let's make sure the flaps are working. Yes, they are. So center the view up, head tracking on, and it's working like a dream. Almost taxiing off the taxiway though. So taxi lights and landing lights on. Strobe lights on. Should we have a look at those lights from outside? Not tremendously bright in the daytime, are they? Okay. Fuel control to flight, or fully forwards. Hold the airplane on the toe brakes. It's struggling to hold it, look. We could probably change the CDI mode to GPS. Oh, we haven't loaded the flight plan in, have we? So I'm going to sit it on the parking brake for a moment. And what we're going to do is come into the tablet, go into here. I'd already loaded the flight plan once, and I'd saved it via the planner website. So I should be able to load flight plan, and it will be in here. There it is, winter flight, load. And there's our sequence of airports that we might visit. And I should, in this one, be able to pull it through onto the send route to the avionics. So has that worked? Yes, it has. So we've got our first leg there. Obviously we're not going to follow that leg directly, we're going to go southeast and then up the valley. Okay, off the parking brake. On the torque, let's see what we can get away with torque-wise then. That's about the limit by the look of it. Flaps up. It's a bit cold and misty, isn't it? But wintry conditions. I'll orbit the airfield to begin with. No leaves on the trees, look, or half of them. It's pretty desolate out there. Okay, so this is a north-south runway, so once we're heading north on the compass, on the reciprocal, slow the propeller down. Just do a lazy turn. You don't want to go down along the runway, we want to go the other side of it really. I should be able to scoot myself forward in the cockpit if I think about it. There we go, and then we can see past the pillar. Unfortunately, look, we're going to go into the cloud pretty quickly, so we're going to have to stay low, which is not a bad thing. Okay, let's descend a little bit. We're right on the limit, look, on the speed, and I've pulled the throttle all the way back. So I'm going to have to pull the propeller back. Oh no, I've pulled the propeller back, but not the throttle, sorry. So pulling the propeller back, all it's going to do is increase the torque on it, to be honest. So we'll try and put all of the power through the propeller still. but with much more pitch on the blades. Okay, shall we get off on our way? So we're probably heading the right direction already, so out along this valley. So we go and look at the map. We're going to go out along here and then turn and go towards LFKA. So, McPeanut's saying, what is the next move after the Vision Jet for the VIP missions? I don't know. All I've done is bought the Vision Jet myself. I have not been playing Flight Sim since I last appeared on YouTube. The computer hasn't even been switched on. So I'm sorry to tell you that you're probably all way ahead of me on the career mode. I kind of think I figured out the mechanics of the career mode, and I had one day where I absolutely blitzed it and got to the Caravan, and and then it was easy money. Then I was making over like 1.5 million sometimes per flight. But it literally, I thought it became quite boring all of a sudden because you were just babysitting rate acceleration all the time. So I'm kind of getting back to flying, which is half the reason I'm piddling around in the Alps tonight, just to remind ourselves what an amazing simulator this is. So I think we carry on. So we're at 80 degrees at the moment, which is heading, we're going the wrong way, aren't we? We need to go further that way. Just looking at where we are on this map. That heads off into the pass that we don't want to go through. So we'll look on the map. Won't be able to see it nicely on the map, yeah. So we were heading off towards this pass, which is not much use to us. We want to go round and go to Albeville. Yeah, so McPeanut, I think I lucked into going the right route with going after cargo planes early on in the missions, which per flight you get a lot more money. Also, cargo planes, you don't get passengers downgrading your performance, but you still have to fly smoothly to avoid damaging the cargo. But yeah, I had to do like a tight banked turn with passengers in one time on one of the test flights I did, and they really didn't like it. They didn't scream, but they were like voicing their concerns from the back seat of the aeroplane, and they gave me an awful performance score. I don't think it affected the money, but I guess it could do over time, I'm not sure. I think the thing that's is a bit of a missed opportunity with career mode is the license tests. I would have liked to have seen an awful lot more procedural bits and pieces in there about using preparing the aircraft appropriately, more like the real world procedures, and putting it away again at the end of the flight correctly. As if it's a commercial operation and you're looking after the aeroplane appropriately. Being able to shortcut that with Control and Control Shift E, I think is a huge missed opportunity, really, because you don't get penalised for it. I think part of the earning the money should be, in my mind, or I would have liked it to have been following getting the aeroplane ready appropriately. Who knows, maybe they will introduce it at some point in the future with an upgrade, you know, have maybe like a pro level where you earn a lot more money, or there's the opportunity to earn more in return for procedurally ticking boxes. Who knows? It's still very good though, and you can see why they've done it, because they're keeping it accessible to newcomers. So if you have no history with aviation, you know, or no previous interest, then they're teaching you the very basics, which is great. Okay, so we should be able to just carry on along the valley now. So we follow the roads to Albertville. And then I thought we might go down through the valleys, down towards Courchevel, which will involve some climbing. There's Meribel there as well. You can go and have a look at both, if they're not completely snowed in. But hopefully when we climb up towards Courchevel, there will be snow. So I'm running engine at 50% at the moment. Let's take it out to 75%. And the propellers as well, or propeller. So we'll probably get up to about 140, 150 knots maybe. Look from outside. It is incredible how much this looks like real film, isn't it? And like the partial snow coverage in the fields, the attention to detail is amazing. The way the mist is falling down the valleys. Okay, so how far to Albertville? Just under 9 miles to run. You can see it on the map here, look. So at the speed we're going will take about 3.5 minutes or so until we have it in sight. And we can arrange our landing or touch and go. So let's have a look at wind. So there's a couple of knots wind, hardly anything. So we can come direct in unless we circle. It might be worth circling first to just get a look at it and then come in runway 05. So you see us closing in on Albertville. So we should be able to see it fairly soon. Should make ourselves a bit taller. What we can do is slouch down in the chair, press Alt and 8, and sit up, and we get taller. If we press Shift and Space, that will centre us back up in terms of our position in the cockpit as well. So, eyes open, can we see the runway? Oh, there's some snow in the fields here, isn't there? Right in front of us somewhere. Is this it here? Or is it just lost in the mist at the moment? Let's go to one side before we circle and get some better idea of where it is. I think that's water, that's not snow. There's the runway, you can see it just in the mist. So we'll fly along the side of the runway and get a decent look at it, and then we'll turn around, loop around in the valley, slow down, get the aeroplane stabilised for approach. So yeah, in the career mode, obviously, yeah, the co-pilot talks. It's very good when it does it. So just come off the power. It takes it a while for it to respond. There's Albertville. So we'll obviously lose some speed in the turn, which will give us the opportunity to drop the flaps. Which will give us drag and lift. So we're within flaps range now. So first stage on the flaps. Second stage on the flaps. See, the speed is tumbling off now. There's our friend coming in. So we'll watch his approach as we make our final turn. Quite see the aeroplane from this distance. Turn back in. It's still a mile away. So full flaps. That tree's in just the wrong place, isn't it? Just before the runway. Whiz past it with the wing. Careful not to over-torque the engine. The climb rate on this thing is crazy, isn't it? Okay, so we need to find a route through the hills. So okay, we go carry on up here, and then there's a turn to the right, so she's just coming, you can see it on the right ahead of us. We're going to follow that valley. So back to 75% on both the propeller and the throttle. Though it looks like this might have a curve on it. So we'll push it forwards a little bit. I might go check that to see if there are any curves implemented on the throttles. Seems a bit odd. sky is clearing up above us. We're leaving behind all of that horrid low cloud. And scoot across to the co-pilot side of the aeroplane to have a look out at the valley. So I'm presuming we look straight down that valley. Let's have a look. Yeah, we carry on straight down and it will take us almost straight to Courchevel and Mirabel. So we'll stay at fairly high altitude because we're going to be climbing in a bit. So what altitude would be worth checking, wouldn't it? I'm just going to trim us out so we don't climb too crazily. And put us back in the pilot's seat. So what altitude is Courchevel at? 6,500 feet. Yeah, so the first number on the airports, on the waypoints, is the altitude then. So we are at 3,000, so we need to get another 3,000, 3,500 feet while we're flying along the valley. So we can just work on that gently along the way. Should do this from outside. Then you can angle the camera downwards and you get to see the valley. Steve might be jumping straight across the top of the hill. It's going to be tobogganing it down the side of the next valley. The scenery and the simulation of the weather in this simulator was amazing. Yeah, I'm just looking at Steve's comments there about you can't see my label or aircraft. So I know the multiplayer isn't really sorted properly yet in the new simulator. I'm sure one of the raft of upcoming updates will be sorting all of that kind of thing. Let's go and see how we're doing. So we're up to almost 5,000 feet. How far away are we? We're about halfway along to Courchevel. And Mirabel as well. So coming out the end of here, there's a mountain in our way, so it's up there somewhere. So that mountain curves off to what would be to our right, which will be going that way then, which makes sense. So then beyond that, there's another ridge further on. Unless that is the ridge further on, and this is the one that goes off to the right. I think that's it, isn't it? So that's the further ridge, which is that one. So it's just behind that ridge. So it's over there somewhere. sure we'll figure it out when we get there. So we're still climbing about 500 feet a minute. Doing quite happily. So Martin Carlson, the message is retracted automatically. There's spam prevention robots on the livestream chat which probably stop links. Unfortunately, because of spammers, it means nobody can really post things like links. So I know people, I'm just reading the comments there, I know people are complaining bitterly about the 737 MAX 8. I tried it out the other day, or it wasn't the other day now, was it? It was a week and a half ago. There were a couple of bugs in it, but I actually thought it was nowhere near as bad as everybody was saying. It flew a VNAV and LNAV flight plan almost perfectly. And then I took it onto manual for landing, and it flew very predictably on approach. The trim is a little bit broken, but other than that, it wasn't as bad as I didn't think, as everybody has been saying. The FMC worked. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. And yeah, you're probably right saying specs there. I've got an advantage over many this time around with Flight Simulator in that I've got kind of the top end of the PC specs. So I've got a lot of headroom in terms of RAM, GPU, RAM, system RAM, CPU, GPU. So, and I'm deliberately running the Flight Simulator at 30 frames a second at 1080p, so I've got a stack of headroom on everything. So we're up to 8,000 feet, let's level out. So we're looking for Mirabel, should be over to our right, so let's have a look. So there's Mirabel, but we're really looking for Courchevel, which is on a slope, isn't it? So it's over here somewhere. Is that it? Where's the runway? Is that it? In the trees, I think it is. So let's... oh no, it's right in front of us, I'm being an idiot. So it's a sloping runway, isn't it? So what we'll do is fly out over this area and then come in and see if we can stop. Do a full stop at Courchevel. Just for a bit of fun. Okay, so we need to fly out towards this hilltop over here and descend a bit. We've gone a bit high. We're within flaps range, which is good. So we'll start extending them now. That's 2 notches of flaps. We can have a look outside and you can see I've extended the flaps. And there's the runway. So we're going to just do a teardrop shape out over the valley and then come back in and hopefully judge it correctly. I can't guarantee this because I haven't done it. Well, not in this simulator anyway. So there's the uphill runway, a very, very short uphill runway, but you use the incline to your benefit to slow down. If we don't, we go tobogganing off the end and smash the aeroplane into the hillside. So there is no go-around option with this airport. You either get it right or you write your aeroplane off. In reality, there are cables strung across this valley as well, which aeroplanes have to avoid. Okay, let's go full flaps, turn the airplane back around, and we'll see how we go. So there's the runway. Ideally, I'd like to be going uphill towards the runway, so have it at a normal orientation and come in low rather than dive bomb the runway. So I'll almost be... well, I'll have all the advantages. So if I can climb past the runway, that does give me an out. So I'll come in low and then increase power to hold airspeed.
500. 500.
And we'll see how we go. Okay, so flat out on the propellers, bringing the power in.
500.
And then off the power. And then let it roll. Touch of the toe brakes. And we're okay. Welcome to Courchevel. Okay, so flaps back to 50% and we'll creep up to the ridge. Hopefully won't meet Stephen coming straight out the runway at us. I think it's worth going and have a look at Courchevel, isn't it? It's really, really nicely modelled. Very good. That runway is a bit terrifying, isn't it? So you literally get one go at this. I love how... oh, actually, I don't think I've got it modelled anymore. There is a building at the end of the runway. Maybe it's in the trees and we can't quite see it from this angle. Just looking at the live stream comments, yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure in the real world you have to have special dispensation to land here. Okay, so what we're going to do is hold on the toe brakes, bring the power up. Propellers are 100%. Off the brakes and roll, looking at the airspeed. And away, off we go. Notice it's swaying around there. The 208 isn't the most stable platform. So flaps can come back up. I love how they got the ski lifts now alongside the resort, or alongside the airport, I should say. Ah, there's Steve. So, next airport for us will be a little fly through the valleys over to Aosta. So we want to be travelling about 55 degrees-ish to get there. I'm just going to hang around here for a moment in case Steve's going to have a crack at this or not, I'm not sure. He's 2 miles down range, isn't he? Maybe we'll circle back over just in case he is. Oh, not landing. Okay. We'll avoid the mountains then and we'll carry on then. 55 degrees we're looking for across the mountaintops for Aosta. We're just picking a route that's roughly 55 degrees-ish. So we have a look on the map of where we are. So it's just going to be a case of picking a route, I think. So propeller can be slowed back down, 75%. Just wondering about going a little way along this valley and cutting through further down. Let's have a look at the map. Yeah, it's the easier route, isn't it? Across. So we'll carry on down and then cut through. Means you get to see some spectacular scenery on the way. So obviously all these mountains have names, I have no idea. So the Grand Caravan is up here. And the Grand Motte is further along. So is that Cass and that Motte? I'm guessing so. And then Montpuri is over to our left in a moment. So if we just climb gently. Rocks look quite scary, don't they? Should we slide across and have a look out the co-pilot side? That looks pretty cold, doesn't it? I can't get over how good this texture modelling is in the new sim. They really have upped it again. I mean, look at this. Broken snow. Where it's fractured. It's incredibly well done. Along this ridgeline, look. Very, very cool. Are we going? The wrong direction at the moment. So this is Montpuri. So we're going to go across the top of this ridge to go the direction we need to be going. Busy admiring the scenery, becoming lost. We're up to 10,000 feet. Thankfully this aircraft can easily do these altitudes. It'd be quite cool, wouldn't it, if you're throwing an aeroplane around, if the co-pilot was to put their hand up and brace themselves. As if they're doing like spin training or something. You know, put their hand forward and grab the glare shield. That is so cool, isn't it?
500.
There's a house up there. There must be like a shelter, I guess. Okay, let's get back on track. So we were aiming for about 55 degrees and not doing that. There's Stephen over there. So we're a little bit north of our track, but that's fine. We can follow this next valley then. It's looking below us, so we can follow down here, and that takes us straight across. So Aosta is Lima India Mike Whiskey in the bottom of the valley. We could be descending, couldn't we? Let's take some power off and descend for a little while. So Ronnie's on about the Corvallis. I've covered it in a video already. I went flying around Australia in the Corvallis when the sim first came out, just to have a play with it. I actually switched to the Corvallis because the DA42 is broken, or it was suffering from the parking brake, the locked-on parking brake issue. Or we're still not sure if it's a parking brake or a chocks issue. But we switched to the Corvallis, which doesn't have the issue at the time. It may be fixed already, I'm not sure. As I said at the start, I've been away from the simulator for the best part of a week. I just can't get over these fractures in the snow. It never had that before, did it? It's very cool.
500. 500.
Okay, so we can follow this valley then out of here, and that will take us to the same valley where Aosta is. Yeah, so we can go along here and then along to Aosta. So we can be descending all the way along here. So we're coming down about 1,000 feet a minute at the moment. So Stephen's been playing with the SimWorks Kodiak, which apparently works really nicely with 24. I'll have to go and have a look at that. To be honest, so far I've been concentrating on the aircraft that come with the simulator. And obviously I've gone and covered the procedures for things like the Phoenix, who were very early out of the gate with converting their aircraft. I imagine PMDG are going to take some time with theirs. But obviously Innie builds have been well ahead of the game in converting their aircraft, but they're not without bugs because the simulator still has numerous small issues which are slowly being fixed. It's interesting. The complaints that have been levelled at Flight Sim kind of remind me of a comedy clip of, I think it was Louis C.K. He was talking about being on an aircraft or an airplane flight, and there was a teenager sat next to him who sat down and couldn't get the internet to work on the aircraft, from his seat. So he just sat back, slumped back in his seat, sighed, and said, "This all sucks." And he said he just physically wanted to pick him up and shake him and shout at him, "You are sitting in a chair in the sky." How amazing is this? But I kind of have the same view of this simulator in a strange sort of way, that it does so much. It's trying to do so much, and it's succeeding at a lot. It's just a shame that a few little bits and details here and there are causing people to, claim the whole thing's a load of garbage when that's not true at all. Okay, so this is the valley where Aosta is, down in the bottom somewhere. Should we have sight of it from here? Probably in the far distance down there. Yeah, I think we can see it. If I was to zoom in, that's the runway, isn't it? Yeah. She's very quiet today, isn't she? When she does missions, she talks all the time. I've noticed on the VIP missions, the passengers in the back only ever start talking when you need to talk near the end, or when you need to concentrate. So just as you're getting approach confirmation, they start talking on their phones. It's like, thanks a lot. You're expecting me to get there. Although, I guess that's a skill in itself, isn't it? It's testing you to see if you can perform accurately with distractions. And just shut out the distractions. Or filter them out. Yeah, I'm just reading Steve's comment there in the live stream chat. It's a petabyte of data, and people are complaining they can't have it on their PC or on their Xbox. Maybe we should turn around to them and say, okay, let's take a room of your house and fill it with server racks to run the web services and everything to feed the data, as well as the data storage arrays as well. And then we'll install a substation outside of your house to run those server racks. Anyway, so which way is the wind at Aosta? There's no wind. Hurrah! There's not a breath of wind, so we can run straight into runway 9. I'm going to orbit the airfield to slow down more than anything. We're doing 140 knots. Unless I side slip it in, which is always a bit dodgy, but we can try it. So if we go to 0 throttle, so the speed is falling off. I think it feathers. It doesn't go into reverse, but I think it feathers the propeller, which is why you hear the change in tone if you go to 0 on the throttle. Okay, let's side slip then and feather the prop and see what happens. So we're losing a bit of airspeed. We're coming down at about 1400 feet a minute, 1500 feet a minute without accelerating. To be honest, I think it's more fun to orbit the airfield. So we'll just glide in on the reciprocal. and do a U-turn and come in at the other end. So there's actually 2 airstrips here, isn't there? One's a bit longer than the other. Let's have a look on the map. See how it draws them. Oh, it's only showing the one. Interesting. Oh, it's the lights, of course the PAPI lights are off to one side, aren't they? It was confusing me there with the taxiway alongside, which is almost as wide as the runway. Oh, Roy has just come on the live stream chat and said thank you for the eye tracker info. No, that was I can't take full credit for that. I just wrote it up neatly. So I found the solution in multiple places in bits and pieces. So I just put it all together into one neat description of how to solve the eye tracker issue. Okay, so there's the runway alongside us. We're going to turn around in a moment. We've got Chas Hill in front of us. I think he's going away. Oh no, he must be coming towards us. Or he's holding station. We're not going very fast and he's not coming towards us very quickly. We're going to have a look outside. So Steve's already down. Traffic. It's shopping sales or something. Oh, of course, they're all off to the Christmas sales, aren't they? Steve's name, but no aeroplane there. So yeah, there's a few issues going on, isn't there? Flaps back to 50%, power back to take off, and rotate, and we're in the air again. So, Roy, you should be able to tweak that in the... If you look at the blog post I did about the eye tracker, it's got the chunk of XML to go right into the profile. It is a bit of a roundabout route to fix it at the moment, but it shows you how to zero out the eye tracker axis. So we're flying the wrong way on the exit to avoid the hillside, but who knows, maybe we'll be okay. Okay, so leaving here, we're going to jump across to Sion. So across the mountaintops again, so we're going to do a left turn, and we could navigate through the gaps, unless we think we can go straight over the top. No, I think that's a bit steep. So we're going to go along this valley over here. I'm going to double back slightly. So off to Sion. going for fuel. So there is a key combination in the simulator, if you weren't aware. There's a repair you can map to the keyboard, and a refuel you can map to the keyboard. I'll show you those while we're in the air. If we go to settings and controls, and I've got my keyboard, and if I put in repair, you will see, oh, repair and refuel. So I've got that to Control-Alt-R. It's not mapped to anything, I don't think, to begin with. So you've also got fuel, I think. I've got to Control-Alt-F somewhere. There it is. Add fuel quantity. And it adds 25% every time you do it. So in a career mission, you don't get penalised for that either. And I don't think you get charged for it. So it's worth knowing about. So you could take off empty all the time and just put enough fuel in using the key combinations. I don't think you get charged for it. So yeah, if I show you this, if I press Control-Alt-F, if you watch the fuel quantity gauges down here, are you ready? Control-Alt-F. And we've just done mid-air refueling. Very cool. So we need to be climbing, don't we? Because we need to get over the top of these hills. Unless we follow along towards the Matterhorn and then loop back, maybe that'd be more fun. So if we follow this valley we're just approaching, and it will take us down towards the Matterhorn. And we can be climbing all the way. It means we're not in such a drastic, you know, max power climb to get to the ridgeline. So what's the name of the lake down here? Does it have a name?
500.
Lac de Place de Moulin, or Moulin. Hello, trees.
500.
So there's the Matterhorn out in the distance down the end of the valley, look.
500.
So suddenly our attitude indicator becomes really useful because we can't see a horizon anywhere anymore. The reason I found out about the repair keyboard shortcut, I actually had an engine failure during a career flight, and while gliding from about 10,000 feet thinking what's going to happen, I thought, I wonder if there's a way out of this. So I started Googling it while gliding on autopilot and discovered that you could repair your aeroplane in flight, which thankfully worked, because in career mode you can have an aeroplane. Like if you've got a second-hand aeroplane or you don't maintain your aeroplane, you could face an engine failure in flight, which is what happened to me. I had just bought a second-hand aeroplane and it let me fly it, but it wasn't the most reliable aeroplane in the world, unfortunately. So I managed to repair it in flight and got me to my destination, which then made me enough money to go and have it overhauled, which cost me, you know, like 1,000,000 credits or something. That's a bit spiky through there, isn't it? So what's the name of that valley we've just passed? It's this one here. It doesn't have a name on this map. No doubt it does in the real world. No need to be running the propeller this hard. Oh, we have some liquid water that hasn't frozen over in the bottom of this Now, what would you call it at this altitude? A lake in the mountains. Lakes have different names in different cultures, don't they, in the mountains? Like in the hills in the north of England, they would call them tarns. A glacier is more the sheets of ice, isn't it? But there's actually a lake here by the look of it. Oh no, it's a dam. It was an optical illusion. It's a dam and they've modelled it. Let's go and have a look and fly around it properly. It looked like it was water from a distance, but it's not, look. How cool is that? It's a dam and it's been modelled properly. Just make sure I don't slam into the mountainside. I'm going to circle back. How fast have we got? Loads of airspeed. Watching the airspeed. Oh my word.
500.
And then 0 power now. I'm going to have to do a figure 8 and do a low pass back over the dam. So we're going to skim across this mountainside to turn back again. So slowed down. There we go. You can see it properly now. How cool is that?
500.
Right, I need to climb now. A lot. So coming back out towards the Matterhorn, and there's no easy way out of here. I'm going to have to climb it. And there's a route to the left which might be easier, which is just coming up. No, I think we'll make it over that end ridge. The Grand Caravan is pretty prodigious at climbing. So we've got the propeller at 100%. Power is right up against the torque limit, or a little bit beyond it at the moment. You can see the inter-turbine temperature is lighting up yellow. Oh, it's going red. It doesn't like it. And it's gone red again. There we go. The texturing of these hills is just stunning, isn't it? This is obviously one of the areas that they've upgraded. So around the Alps. No doubt there are missions up here for doing mountain rescue and things like that. It just looks stunning. So someone's saying we could land near the Horn. There's a flat ice surface, or flattish. So if we circle round to the right once we get over this ledge, or sorry, not ledge, ridge. So there's the peak. The other side of here though, there may be a flat area. I haven't got skids on though. And I've got damages on, so I could end up ripping the wheels off if they dig into the snow, I guess. Or if they hit a boulder under the snow, that's the danger, isn't it? How are we doing? 100 knots, we're slowing down, but we're getting higher though, so indicated airspeed is not representative anymore, really. Oh, I can see Steve's aeroplane. Well, I thought I could for a moment there. So we could land along the ridge. Because this looks pretty smooth. Wonder. There's you were talking earlier on the live stream about glaciers, and yeah, look at that, where the ice has, or the snow has gone and ice has formed and gone as well, and carved out a huge channel. You can see it's like a river.
500. 500.
It is stunning, isn't it? Really is. I should keep an eye on airspeed because we need to stay fairly fast at these altitudes, I imagine. And yeah, look at the airspeed falling off. Need to be careful. Not try and do any tight turns. It's pretty unforgiving landscape, isn't it? Just keep this steady and do a nice shallow turn to the right. Oh, but yeah, it's stalling, look.
500.
So that's the wind. It's very unstable over the ridge. So we could hit pockets of downdrafts. I'm just keeping it steady. Whoa! So, yeah, we could land it down in there, couldn't we? Should we have a go? What could go wrong? It's a simulator. So, or on top maybe, on the top of that ridge line. If we get it right, we could land in there. Stopping is going to be the problem though, that looks a little bit downhill. Taking off again could be the huge problem. So let's get the flaps out. Yeah, look, when you get close, this is actually really fractured down here. It's not smooth enough to land on. But this bit up here does look okay. We'll get ourselves in the right position to maybe land in a straight line from where we are here out towards there. And we can always pull out and climb out if it doesn't look good, if we're not happy. That rock suddenly looks very close, doesn't it? And quite alarming. No, doesn't like it. There was no way. I thought we might softly go in. but we didn't. So I've opened the throttle up. Needs skids. So it flaps up. So all we've managed to do is probably damage the undercarriage slightly. Anyway, we're carrying on north out of here towards Sion. So we can follow this valley directly in front of us. But wow, isn't the scenery incredible? Something else. So I'm guessing we're descending all the way down into Sion, along the valley. So we'll go all the way along here. So Sion is at 1,500 feet, and we are at 9,500 feet. So yeah, it's down here, look. So come off the power. Needs a clean, doesn't it? There's bits of rubbish all over it. Just reading Martin's comment on the live stream about looking for the popsicle. Oh yeah, that popsicle, that's John. Remember that time when he did that thing? Yep, that's him, he's still there. Well, at least we approached with an escape possible. You know, unlike the Courchevel approach, where if you get it wrong, you're in huge amounts of trouble. I guess the most dangerous place I've seen, which is just around the corner from Courchevel actually, if you want to see somewhere crazy dangerous, is it still in here? I think they may have removed it from the sim. I think it was here. There was a little airport called Valois, or is it Valois Bonne Nuit? Have they removed it? Or am I thinking, is it somewhere else? I thought it was at Courchevel. Oh no, it's Ventoux, isn't it? It's round the corner from Mount Ventoux. I think. Let's have a quick look on the map.
500.
So where's Ventoux? Oh yeah, there it is. Valois Bonne Nuit. That's the most dangerous one in the whole sim, by a mile. There's no way out. There's only one way to land there, and if you get it wrong, you are going to smash your plane. Because the only way in is along this valley, and there's a steep hill directly in the way of the runway. And this is an incredibly steep climb. If you try to get out of here, you'll stall and go into the hillside. So yeah, there's a good one. Lima, Foxtrot, Victor, Oscar. Go try it. Also, you have problems stopping in time. You end up winding along the valley, dodging trees, and then you have a job stopping in time because it's only 1,200 feet long. So it's like all the brakes, all of the reverse pitch you can muster, every trick in the book to stop in time. It's quite snowy, isn't it? It's very Christmassy. It hadn't even occurred to me to go somewhere snowy because it's Christmas. This is just a pure luck, really. So we're still descending. We're down to 4,500 feet. We should be down plenty of time to get to Aosta. So let's go and have a look on the map, see where we are. Over here somewhere. So we come down out of here and turn left. So So we could skim across the top of the hill and cut the corner off. Shall we do it? Then we'll get to wave to the cottages as we go whizzing past. Or chalets, I should say. Probably horrendously expensive skiing lodges. And there is Aosta, so where's the airport then? Right in front of us. Where's the wind? 2 knots, so we'll go and loop around, do a left pan in. So we'll carry on straight line. Go around the other side of this little hill. Lose some speed and some height. And that should prepare us well to do a touch and go. Flaps to 50%. Just reading Martin's comments there. I have stopped using any of the approaches on the career mode that are pre-planned in. The developers themselves have said they're a suggestion, yeah. As long as you go through the final marker going the right direction, you're good. You can completely ignore the pan. Pretty up here, isn't it? That's the wrong way. Let's see if the pappies work. So if we keep descending at the rate we are, we'll go low on purpose. And there's 1 red, and there's 2 reds. Hey, they do work. 3 reds. That's not so good. 2 reds. 1 red. Obviously we're visual, so we don't really care about the pappies, but the undercarriage is still there then after our encounter with the rock face. I have a landing gear malfunction. I wonder why that might be. I wonder what's wrong with it. Wouldn't it be funny if we looked outside and one of the wheels was missing? Okay, so if we follow along this valley, Raron is a bit further down the valley. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it, so I do apologise. Let's go and do a close pass of this obviously custom built structure on the hill though.
500. 500.
Which looks rather marvellous. So let's have a look at this from here. Very cool. I think there's a movie was filmed there, wasn't there?
500.
Well, it's probably several movies have been filmed there.
500. 500.
Should we turn off the...
500.
or can we turn off the... Oh, there was a button up here on the other version of this. Or am I thinking of a different aeroplane? So I guess the keyboard combination to repair the aeroplane would fix the undercarriage. I'm hoping it won't fold up on us at the next airport. It does look amazing, doesn't it, this simulator? Right. So Raron is... there's a disused airfield we're going to pass over, Turtman Military Airfield, which is just round the corner. We'll ignore that one and go for the next one. The clouds look amazing, don't they? Tucked into the valleys. Oh, they've just updated, look. It's getting heavier. The cloud is increasing. Interesting. Zoom in on this to be able to see it, I'm afraid. This is the problem with head tracking. I'm going to turn the head tracking off. It's just wobbling enough that I can't hit that button. Which is always the problem. So shift space and then Alt 7 will turn my head tracking back on and we're good to go again. How they get the mapping data for gullies where it's not obvious. I should speed up a bit really. Steve's way ahead now. I think tonight we may end at Ambury. I've penciled in further legs, which would take us out of the Alps, but I think maybe that'll be a second flight at some point over the weekend. So tonight I'll end at Ambury, which is in 3 airports' time. Otherwise we'll be here all night. As much fun as this is, it's probably not the most entertaining thing in the world to watch somebody trundling along between airports in the Alps, just trying out aeroplanes and scenery. I'm on real weather, but not real time. Just looking at the live stream comments there. So I wound the time back because, yeah, Eastern Europe, or sorry, Western Europe is probably late in the evening. It'll be about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening in the Alps at the moment. So this is going to be the disused airfield, is that correct? Yeah. So this is Turtman Military Airfield we're just about to pass over. And then just round the corner, further on, is Raron. Just keeping an eye on the airspeed, we're speeding up, look, as we're descending. So yeah, just looking at the live stream comments, I usually do fly with live weather because it gives you challenges. Sometimes they can be disastrous challenges, and if the point of the flight is to go look at things, I may switch it back to few clouds or something like that. Otherwise, you know, what's the point if it's completely snowed in? But if it's an aviation related, you know, if the point of the flight is aviation, then weather is obviously something that has to be dealt with, so it's good fun. I had some really great feedback from a real-world pilot who saw one of the Korea flights, I think it was I did. It may have been with this aircraft. It might have even been the Twin Otter, I can't remember. And he saw that there was turbulence and the stall warning went off on the climb out because the wind changed for a second. And, you know, we just kept the aircraft steady and accelerated through it. A bit of an act of faith, but he was super impressed and wrote in the comment or in the email, you know, that that was such a good validation of the flight model and the weather modelling that happened, because it's a very real world event that, you know, that sort of thing does happen. Okay, so we're getting rid of speed, getting the flaps down, and we're getting ready for it's a very short runway, isn't it? So obviously STOL planes only. We should be fine in the Caravan. It's perfectly suited to doing this sort of thing.
500.
So we're going to reduce the speed right down.
500.
We're on full flaps already. And just skim it in behind these trees over here. We'll use the trees as our markers for our turn. We've got a tyre malfunction. Does that mean we've blown a tyre? So that must be the old runway there. And they've moved it and they've got a new one. It's pushing it, isn't it? I'm not going to slow down in time. Although it's supposed to be a touch and go, isn't it? So we might have to do a touch and go. That poor old tyre. Is there anything left? Is it modelling that? No. The tire's still there. Probably see smoke belching out in a moment, having thrashed the engine there to climb out. Yeah, it's going red on the engine gauge. If this was a more accurate aeroplane, we'd probably have chip detectors going off and all kinds of things. For over-torquing the gearbox. Okay, back along the valley again. Flaps up. Picking up some airspeed. It would be great, wouldn't it, if the co-pilot showed emotion and left finger marks in the glare shield. I think she heard that. She'd be good at playing poker, wouldn't she? She doesn't let out much. Whoa, what is Steve flying? Is that still the 208? It's absolutely shifting. I'll come off the power a bit so he's got some margin to formate with me. Where is he? Or is he looped back? Oh, there he is. So, we are on our way along the valley to Munster. So it's a little way along this left-hand valley from our approach. There's another spectacular gorge down there, isn't there? Look at that. So yeah, Steve, the live stream has a delay of maybe 5 or 10 seconds because I've turned the quality up on the streaming. It may even be longer than that. Or if you hit refresh in your browser, you may see it a lot more. The browsers tend to fall behind on streaming over time. How many trees is this simulator throwing around? It's drawing them out to like maybe 4 or 5 miles away. Look, they're on the hillside 10 miles behind us. It's insanity, isn't it? Okay, about halfway along towards Munster.
500.
And then we'll have, obviously, we'll have to pick through the valleys to get to Ambry after Munster. Snowy up here, isn't it? Should we see how calm she remains if we were to do this? Okay, don't worry, I'm going to put it back down again. She remained calm. I think the Grand Caravan's great, just looking at the live stream comments with people asking what we think of it. It takes a bit of learning because it naturally has an amount of thrust, even at idle, so you need to factor that into flying it appropriately. So doing a pattern helps. So obviously once you get the speed down and the flaps down, that helps a lot with losing your airspeed and altitude. But once you get used to that, it's absolutely fine. Should we see if we can fly formation with Steve? If I slow us down a moment. Just side slipping us to lose some airspeed. Flying formation in the Caravan is actually quite difficult because the throttle response is so slow. So we just fly at kind of is 4 o'clock. Makes it easy to do. Yeah, this is quite difficult. I'm not sure, he's getting very slow because he's on approach obviously, so I'm going to go round. I hadn't got the flaps down and I knew he was getting slow and it was an accident waiting to happen. Should we back around and... Nice landing. So I'm going to loop around and go for an approach. Just widen my turn a little bit. Go for the hillside, there's the runway. Okay, holding 60, 70 knots-ish. some airspeed back and rotate. Away we go again. So flaps up. Yeah, the windscreen's slowly getting worse and worse, isn't it? It's great how the airplanes do get marked up. So, we're going the wrong way, aren't we? We need to cut through one of these gorges. Actually, the one that's up ahead of us, does that cut through? This one does. Just going to have a close look at this valley before we go into it to see that it really does. Yeah, it's fine, look. I just don't want to turn this corner and face a rock face with no room to turn. So we follow this round to the right at the end, and then when we get to the little lake we can turn left. But we can do that. We can turn left before that, but there's a steep climb. So we could go out over this pass, but if we carry on round there'll be a small lake, and then we can just go around the outside of the mountain. Well, that's the plan, unless I've got it horrendously wrong. There's the lake. Okay, it's not as easy as we thought. So what's the marker for? Is this actually a dam? We're losing airspeed.
500.
It's a dam, isn't it? That was a bit too dangerous, really. We weren't prepared for that. Look at that! Steve kicking up the snow in front of us. That's fantastic. Are we doing that as well? Yeah, we can't see it from this angle though. In the sunshine we saw him kicking up the snow, didn't we? How cool was that? Okay, so we're looping around back towards this valley, which will take us to Ambry, which is where we're going to finish today. There's another lake below us, so we should be able to spot that on the map fairly easily.
500.
Yep. So that's Marchhorn to our right here. Pylons. I wonder if they'll ever install the wires between the pylons into the stock simulator. instead of having to use an add-on to do that. You have to wait. So sorry, I'm just talking to my daughter. Okay, so we're just coming around the valley. So Ambry, we should see. Let's go and scoot across to the bottom of the valley. Follow Steve down there. So we should turn this corner and see Ambry against the side of the valley. I got a feeling I test flew the Messerschmitt 108 down here a long time ago. This rings a bell, this valley, you know, what it looks like. It seems familiar. Okay, we have an idiot in the... We don't have any mods, but we can... fly one-handed and remove them.
500. 500. 500.
So there's the airport, so which way's the wind? Okay, so it suits us turning around in the valley at the end and coming back in. And we will end here this evening. plates off so I can concentrate.
500.
Coming in quite fast. We could side slip it to allow that to happen and lose some speed. Still wants to keep going, doesn't it? Slam it down and slither across the runway on the ice. And we're fine. I wonder what's wrong with the wheel then. Does it actually simulate anything being wrong with it? Parking area here then. I'm guessing there isn't one. Oh, it's down the far end. I can see a helicopter down there. Why do people behave like this on the internet? So I apologise to everybody watching for the idiots that are trying to ruin the comments in the live stream. Yeah, the right tyre is stuck, isn't it? And is that 5 or 6 accounts now in a row that we've had to ban? Let's see how long they can keep it up for. So if we press Control-Shift-E to shut the airplane down. I'm just hiding the users from the channel. I wonder if you can report them. There's probably no point, because as fast as you report channels, as fast as you report people, they'll just make new accounts. So unwanted account. I'll have to have a look, because I used to have a robot that would take care of spammers. So I'm going through now reporting all of those accounts. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching, everybody. I'll have a look into that, about putting some robots in place to systematically just remove the idiots. Thanks for persevering. So that was a little flight across the Alps in 2024 in the Cessna Grand Caravan. Good fun. Okay, see you again soon. Take care.